Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session on the Premier League. My name is Darren Hardman. I'm CVP, CEO of Microsoft UK and Ireland, but actually for today, I'm the executive sponsor of our relationship with the Premier League. We were so oversubscribed for this session, so sorry for the people who are standing up, and welcome to all of those who are dialed in and streaming online. We had so many people subscribed, I actually thought maybe you were confused that this was a Manchester United versus Liverpool game, which it isn't. I am stood here, I should say, by the side of the actual Premier League photo, and I've seen that many of you have been having shots with it. It is regaled in the Liverpool ribbons, which is mildly disappointing. I'm a suffering Manchester United fan, so I'm kind of standing slightly to one side. Yes, let's have a round of applause for that one. Now, over the course of the last few days, you've heard and seen across many industries how AI is reshaping those industries, driving productivity, efficiency, and innovation. And today, we're going to be exploring how AI is transforming the way we connect with the things that we love, whether it's entertainment, community, culture, or all of the above. Because whether it's in hospitals, the workplace, or even stadiums, AI is just a powerful catalyst for bringing us closer to the things that we really care about. And in my opinion, there is nothing that captures passion and culture more closely than the beautiful game of football, or soccer, should you be inclined. And when it comes to scale, the Premier League is pretty unique. With 20 world-renowned clubs, 20 I said, I'm making no comment about this team over here, the history and the identity. There's 1.8 billion fans worldwide that tune in to the Premier League every week. In July, the Premier League and Microsoft agreed a groundbreaking partnership which fundamentally transforms how the Premier League operate and run their business, but also how they drive deeper and more broader fan engagement. It's not a sponsorship. This is a transformation engagement. We're using Microsoft's technology to reimagine the world's most watched football league. At the heart of this partnership is the Premier League companion app. It's a new AI-driven experience for every fan. It's powered by Microsoft Copilot and Azure OpenAI, and it draws on 30 seasons of the Premier League statistics, 300,000 articles, 9,000 videos, and it offers every fan a very personalized and interactive experience. If you haven't downloaded this app yet, please go ahead and do it, or maybe just wait till the end of the presentation so I can have all your attention fully focused on not just the reasons for doing this, but actually the underlying technology which we'll walk you through. It's a perfect example, this partnership, of what happens when AI, cloud, and human passion come together. So I'm actually really thrilled to welcome to the stage with me the Premier League's US Managing Director, Akash Jain. He's going to bring some unique perspective on how the league is expanding its reach, deepening fan engagement here in the US and beyond. Welcome, Akash. So we're here in sunny San Francisco, and I think we should probably start with a question around the Premier League's presence here in the US. You know, maybe just give us some insight on the continued growth that you're seeing here, which actually been phenomenal over the years that I've been watching the rise of the Premier League in the US.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Darren, for having me. It's so exciting for us, the Premier League, to be here at Microsoft Ignite and see all the amazing technology and innovation that Microsoft is driving. The Premier League in the US, we've experienced just tremendous growth over the last decade here in this market, largely driven by a great partnership that we have with NBC. They have been broadcasting our competition to our fans since 2013. The investments they've made in production, programming, et cetera, have really established a unique new morning time slot, appointment viewing in the morning every weekend, where fans are getting up, enjoying their favorite club, their favorite players, et cetera. So that's really driven the tremendous growth over the last decade. And 2 years ago, we decided it was time to open an office and establish a presence here on the ground. And the reason we did that is we wanted to be closer to our fans. We wanted to support our partners like yourselves and NBC, and be able to deliver more experiences to our fans to be able to deepen their passion for the league, our clubs, and our players. And we've been doing that through a number of different activities. One, creating more experiences here in the US, which allows our fans to be able to touch and feel the best of the league, our clubs, and our players. So that's everything from a touring property that we had this summer with preseason matches, to a mornings live festival that we do with NBC, to creating more localized digital and content experiences, again, for our fans to be able to deepen that passion, that loyalty. And we're really excited about the growth that's coming. What's coming in 2026 with the World Cup. You know, I like to tell people that's just pouring gasoline on the fire. Millions and millions of fans are going to be consuming more and more football. And that provides us just a unique opportunity to be able to further engage fans, grow our fan base. And the partnership with Microsoft is going to be central to that, because we have to have digital tools and platforms to be able to deepen that passion with fans.
You know, I lived here in the US for 4 years, and I remember the new category called Premier League mornings, was it? And the fact that you could wake up, you could go and consume all your Premier League back to back, and then get on with your day. I'm actually quite jealous now.
It's a great way to start the morning.
Exactly. No, you have set out as the Premier League a real vision to become the most digitally connected league in the world. What inspired that strategy, and how is it shaping up?
Yeah, just such an exciting vision that our leadership team has set. It really started with, how do we bring our fans closer to the action through really personalized digital experiences. And we wanted that to be able to do a couple things. One, how do we deepen engagement with our existing fans to be able to serve them relevant content, data, insights, et cetera. But we also wanted to be able to create a discovery platform for new fans. How do we attract new fans into our ecosystem from around the world? So bringing fans closer to the action was a key thing. The second is, we know that fandom is becoming more global and more on the go. I think you've told everybody that you're a Manchester United fan. I think you told me last night that you're always traveling, you're always on the go. Hopefully, you are still wanting to keep up with what's happening with
most of the time,
your favorite club.
Occasionally, I want to
depending on what's happening during the season. And so, we know it's critical to be able to serve those fans with what they want, how they want it, where they want it. And so creating this ecosystem for the most digitally connected league in the world is absolutely critical. And it was so important for us to have a partner that can build with us the right tools and capabilities to be able to connect with fans around the world.
Maybe a little bit more on that. So obviously we're at Microsoft privileged to be kind of in this partnership with the Premier League. What was it, the spark that kind of drove the collaboration with Microsoft?
Yeah, I mean, first, just walking into Ignite, seeing 20,000 people, seeing the innovation that's coming from Microsoft, it just feels like an obvious choice. Obviously, Microsoft is a leader in cloud services, a pioneer in generative AI with Copilot. And so those technologies were critical in building the new digital platforms that we have done. Also bringing two global organizations together that share a passion for delivering immersive fan experiences was really essential for us. And then internally, what was really interesting is we knew that things like Copilot would change the way that we work, drive efficiencies, deliver better results, et cetera. And the adoption of Copilot throughout our organization in the last year has been simply amazing. And to be able to then know that we're using those tools in a safe, reliable, secure environment with a partner like Microsoft. Again, natural, easy choice for us in this partnership.
And we're talking about just a few things today, the fan engagement app, but there's so much more to come that I'm excited to share as we go forward. We think about the amazing fact that the Premier League is broadcast in 189 countries. Are there more than 189 countries? I don't even know. Each market is very different characteristics of watching the Premier League in the UK versus abroad. Yeah. How are you going to use this AI digital innovation that you're bringing, particularly here in the US?
Yeah, first, as you said, the Premier League Companion is this new digital platform, this tool that allows fans to just discover more about the Premier League. As you mentioned, it has the opportunity to reference 30 seasons of stats and data, hundreds of thousands of articles and video, and it can serve that up to our fans, at their fingertips. And so what's really unique about fandom in the US, I sort of talked to a lot of my colleagues in London about this, is fandom in the US and fandom in the UK is quite different. I generally say fandom in the UK is driven by two G's. It's generational. You are a Manchester United fan, and I assume you're passing down your fandom to
my son hates me at the moment.
So one G is generational. The second is geographic. You grew up in Newcastle. You're a Newcastle fan. Our research has shown that actually fandom in the US is quite different. There's so many different paths to becoming a fan. Many people are just fans of the league because they love competitive and compelling football that's happening every single weekend. Many people support one club, Manchester United. Many people actually support many clubs, which is really a surprise to everybody in the UK. Many people support players. And so that diversity of fandom, it's critical for us to be able to deliver personalized experiences, to be able to deepen fandom and continue to allow fans to drive whatever that fan journey might be, because there's so many different entry points.
Give us an example of that. What a fan might experience here in the US in a typical game day or...
Yeah, there's infinite possibilities with this technology. So as we said, that morning time slot is unique. So let's say a Brighton fan wakes up on a Saturday morning, is ready for the match instantly. The app and the companion can tell that fan which NBC channel and what time the match is going to be on, who the matchup is against, and also contextualize that matchup. How has the performance been against that club throughout the years? That fan settles in, gets ready for the match. Early goal by Brighton. And instantly the companion can tell the fan, what is the probability? How has Brighton done when they score early in a match? The fan can go deeper and look for what were the earliest goals ever scored in a Premier League match. So these are the things that Companion and Copilot can do at their fingertips. Again, we're here in the US. Another example, US men's national team player Tyler Adams. Let's say he scores for Bournemouth. Really interesting, relevant story, being with the World Cup coming next year. A fan can almost instantly see how did Tyler Adams' stats stack up to other American players that have played in the Premier League. So just a couple examples. We know we're just scratching the surface with this, and as we continue to work with you and the Microsoft team, we'll be able to include more and more advancements as the technology continues.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. The power of Copilot grounding on all the data that underpins the Premier League and that interactive experience before the game, during the game, after the game.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. So this level of personalization is a new thing for the Premier League and actually a new thing for all leagues because you're leading in this journey. What do you think this personalization is going to drive for the Premier League for the next few years, particularly here in this US market?
Yeah, what's exciting for us is that, as you mentioned, we have such a passionate global fan base. I think you referenced 1.8 billion fans. We mentioned the broadcast. We're broadcast in 900 million homes in those 189 countries. So the reach is massive. This personalization, what's critical for us is how do we deepen relationships with all of those fans around the world. And the personalization is critical to be able to do that. Again, to serve up more to those existing fans, to deepen their engagement, but also to attract new fans from around the world. I think the other thing that is really, really exciting for us is through the tools, through the partnership with Microsoft, we're learning so much about fans. We're gathering so much data about fan behavior. What are the things they're consuming? What are they interested in? What are the questions they're asking to Copilot? So as we can learn more about fans, that is so powerful for us as we then partner and discuss what are the future tools that we want to develop to be able to serve those fans. In the US, again, our research has shown the majority of our fans have actually become fans just in the last 5 years. So we have this young, diverse fan base that's hungry for more. They want to be educated on the history, the tradition, the rivalries, all of those things to, again, deepen their passion for the league, the clubs, the players. And personalization and what we're doing with the companion and AI is only going to help continue to serve what those fans are looking for.
So again, today we're focused on the Fan Companion app, but actually the end-to-end transformation of the way that the Premier League runs its business, the way that individuals drive their tasks every day, the platforms and the technology stack is transforming, and we'll hear from the team in a moment around that. But obviously, this level of change is new to you. Maybe share a few of the challenges and the teething challenges as you've embarked on this.
Yeah, I think as everyone sort of knows, the pace of change is obviously a massive challenge, the pace of what's happening with technology and AI. And so how do you build solutions and platforms that can be future-proofed? And really, that pace of change, how can that match the ambition that we have? We talked about the vision of being the most digitally connected league in the world. And so that pace is a challenge, and so having a partner like Microsoft who can help us understand that pace and what's coming in the future is absolutely critical. I think the other challenge for us that we've together been solving for is how do we make sure that what we're doing stays true to our competition and stays true to what our fans are looking for. So making sure that it's really simple, that fans can understand it, it's intuitive when they go in the app and they're accessing the companion, et cetera. And so those are things that we've been really keeping top of mind in some of the big challenges that have faced us.
So maybe the last question, we have many in the audience who are leading and engaging in businesses outside of sport. Maybe share some lessons on your AI journey around personalization and data-driven experiences.
Yeah. For us, it starts with the fans. So ensuring that what we're building continues to serve those fans and hopefully attracting new fans. So I'm sure for everyone out there, it's about their customers, whether it's B2B, B2C, and how are you leveraging this technology to deliver value. For us, it's our fans. For everyone else, their customers. Ultimately, AI and these technologies are going to be accelerators for our business. We know our competitors are looking at it as well. And so how do we best lean into this technology, always keeping in mind how is it delivering value to the fans. And it's critical for us to ensure that we've got a partner that can help us navigate the trends that are happening with this technology. And so the personalized digital experience is transforming how we engage with our fans, and we're looking forward to really what's coming in the future.
Well, thank you, Akash, for sharing your thoughts. And it's just a great reminder that there's a lot of discussion around the application of AI, productivity, efficiency, but actually the human passion that AI is fueling here is fantastic. It goes much beyond that. And so bringing people closer to the very things they love. And As promised, we're going to transition to a technical deep dive session on the Premier League companion, but we're going to kick that off with a short video.
Let's make some noise! Go!
Anywhere you go, anyone you might meet, it always starts with, who's your football team?
What a goal!
The Premier League is watched and followed by over 1.8 billion people around the world, in over 180 countries. The most important thing for us is finding new ways to attract more fans in the way that matters to them. The greatest challenge is the extreme amount of competition for attention and the massive fragmentation in the media landscape.
We realised that there was the opportunity to build something more personalised, more future-facing with the content and the data and the insights that fans want.
In trying to deliver on this personalisation mission, it was a natural time for us to think about the role that Agentic AI could play, helping assess the vast amounts of raw material that we have, making it accessible and discoverable to our fans on an individual level.
Being able to give them access to that content on demand is fundamental to their enjoyment of the game.
Microsoft Foundry is the cornerstone of the Premier League companion. We're utilising 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗁𝗁 for natural language prompts, semantic kernel for orchestrating agent interactions, and Azure Machine Learning with Azure AI Search for real-time insights.
The companion puts into the hands of fans over 30 years of insight, 300,000 articles, 9,000 videos, exactly the kind of data and content that fans want to have at their fingertips. The companion and allows everyone to be part of the debate that sits at the heart of fan culture around the world.
And the crowd is going absolutely wild.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Pedro Gomes. I'm a principal architect at Microsoft from IST, AI Business Solutions. I'm here with Simon Brown from the Premier League.
Morning. Simon Brown from the Premier League.
Let me see, where is the clicker? It's here. So thank you very much again for being with us. We're going to do a deep dive on how we're building this. This is a journey, so we started, we will continue, but we're very happy to share some of the insights here with you guys.
So let's talk about the Premier League companion app. We've already touched with Darren and Akash on how we want to engage with the fans and tailor that to their experience based on whether they're a super fan or a Man U fan, or they're in Brazil and they follow multiple teams, multiple players. And to do that, we've been looking at how we do that with a conversational experience using Copilot. And so we'll just show you a quick demo in a second of how we've taken all of the data to engage with those 1.8 billion fans around the world. And as we said, this is just the start of the journey. So we've started with pre-prompts, then we're going to go into open prompts, and then after that, we'll touch on some of the other stuff like custom video, audio for accessibility, and then the future, who knows? I think one of the big challenges, which we'll touch on later, is the speed at change in the AI space. So the stuff that we started doing in January, when we kicked off this work, has either disappeared or has completely changed since we started that work. So we'll roll this demo just to give you a touch and feel of the Premier League companion app. So this is available now. You can download the app, as Darren said, maybe download it after this presentation, but it pulls on all of the data. So we've got all of the video, all of the editorial content, and all of the sports data. And so we're taking these multiple sources, ingesting that in. We're offering the closed prompts. Now we've just opened free text prompts, so you can basically search and have a conversational experience with the companion app. And so this gives the first pass the personalized feel, so you can basically engage with this, get up-to-date info on what's happening, and then we've had the big challenge of keeping this fresh and focusing on things like latency and stuff like that. We're also looking at translation, which is coming later this year, and this will be basically offer our non-English speaking fans an option to engage with the app. And then the last one is video clip compilations. So we've got a massive archive of video, and so how do we take that archive as well as all of the current footage from this season and tailor that? And so here's an example of a sort of vertical video, and vertical video is obviously a very nice format that everyone's consuming, and that's another area that we're looking to engage in. And so this, as we get into the deep dive, we've just talked about, we've got all of the, on the left side, all of the detailed raw information. So we're ingesting all of this information from the CMS, from the video archive, and then all of the live sports data that we take from Opta, Stats Perform. And so we ingest all of that in, and then we're able to engage on the right side with these people, like Miguel here, who follows Chelsea. His favorite player is Cole Palmer, and he's interested in playing Fantasy Premier League. And then we have Elena, Man U fan. I don't know why she's following Ollie Watkins, but we could find that out later. But she obviously uses the app during a live game. We have live alerts, traffic spikes. So we have all of the challenges with other sports leagues that the traffic is very spiky, that, if Salah scores, through the roof, the traffic going, everyone piles in, wants to have a look at what's happening, the goals, the fantasy points, but then also engaging with Copilot. And then we have the unauthenticated Martin, who's just a general fan. So we want to engage with everyone. You might just want to know about what's happening league-wide. And so we want to try and get to that breadth and depth across the whole of the world.
Yeah, and so let's dive a little bit in how we're doing this. Again, as you heard, there are a lot of, I would say, personalization aspects to consider here. We have heard in terms of going to different countries, so people have different ways of seeing, in this case, football or soccer. People have different preferences in terms of clubs. One of the things we learn within the project team, which is we're all international fans, and we follow more than one club, more than one player. Sometimes we look to our national players, we want to see how it's going. So there are different views on how we want to do this. There's also there is a context of whether there is a game week, gameplay, whether also what was my memory in terms of the conversation I had with the companion. So we want to give that extra degree of personalization as we go. So it all starts, as always, with data. So one of the big challenges and opportunities is how do we unlock all this data to these different personas? Do you want to describe a little bit kind of the types of data the Premier League has in terms of detail? It was kind of a surprise for us, not just the amount of things, but the types of, in terms of whether they're videos, the other ones.
Yeah, so obviously we just touched on it. We've got this massive source of semi-structured data. So it's how do we get that extracted out, but then also how do we index it and look at it so that we can slice and dice it however we like to basically service those fans. So I think when we started working with the Microsoft team, I think everyone was a bit blown away with the volume of data. And then also we need to factor in things like freshness. How do we reduce that latency during match times so that if a goal happens or something happens, that sports data is reflecting through the stack? And so these were the challenges, as well as then just things like response times on the actual APIs. We wanted to have super fast APIs, so looking at things like caching and then just into cost optimization as well. So we had all of these challenges. But with the data side, we had all of the CMS data, the sports data, and then the archive, multiple terabytes of video archive that we are indexing so that we can scan that now and decide how to slice the videos, create new videos in different formats to engage those fans.
So, and one of the challenges and parts we had to do was how do we make this data actionable to AI, to the processes? So we know we have been all discussing how we build these data platforms, how we do centralize all that data so that we can have those different views. Because we have also learned that the type of questions someone may ask about a player, a game, cross-checking, comparing, that can go in multiple paths and creates challenges in the way we can really surface data. So that's the stats thing. The other thing is articles. So there's a lot of there's an editorial team at the Premier League. They're producing articles. They need to be very neutral. They cannot be just from a club, so they need to present a neutral perspective. They also need to be very authoritative in terms of the information needs to be very factual. And also the fact that they cannot use external sources. They cannot leverage news from other newspapers and things like that. So it needs to be grounded on their information. Articles, stats, clubs news too. So they're receiving automatically the club's news and we can surface that. And also videos. And for us, video is it's not just in terms of capturing kind of the simple metadata of a video. We want to more and more capture the best moments, kind of the penalties, the kicks and things like that. And so with different partners, the Premier League is also aggregating this metadata of information where we can surface. And then the true richness of the experience comes when we combine this. And that's where we think the agents get in very interestingly. So we are basically ingesting through APIs several data sources. We have then a data platform where through a medallion architecture we are curating the data, preparing the data to be used, ensuring the quality is there to the factionals reference, and then we need to prepare it to be not just stored but also consumed by our AI processes and then served to the fans. And this is the starting point for where we are from here. And then we are leveraging an agentic architecture. And I kind of start with this first question, or let's first kind of describe a little bit of the nuanced behaviors of what we're doing here. Because when we think of conversational experiences and features like Copilot, we tend to now, we're living that, and we abstract a little bit of the details and how personalized this can be. One of the aspects we started was with the pre-prompts. And pre-prompts feels like a simple experience in terms of how we start and engage in conversational experience. But for the Premier League, that was not kind of a simple starting point. There's more than a pre-prompt, kind of a topic and a response. There is a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So yeah, we obviously, in true IT fashion, we had a very aggressive timeline to get the first release out the door. And so we went for this pre-prompt as MVP or option one. And like you say, things are very theme-based, and during match, there's like a match week, there's the build-up to the match. And so we could tailor those prompts based on what time it is during the match week, but also things like your personal profile. If you onboard and you tell us about your favorite teams, we can tailor those responses on who you favorited as a players, clubs, and things like that. So we were tailoring it and just getting people used to pre-prompts. So I think back in January, things have moved on a lot since January, that you see everybody now talking to AI, having conversational, whereas back in January, we were still feeling that we need to just touch the water and just show people what you can get to, and then go down the rabbit warren effectively of being able to just deep dive and get more tailored responses to what you're asking for.
And basically what we also learn is that within a pre-prompt experience, you can also have a very personalized type of experience. One of the things we do is the follow-up prompts, where they're relevant to what you asked before and to your preferences. So, and that creates what we have been discussing with the Premier League, which is a rabbit hole. With the outcome we want to get out of this is to engage more fans, to know them better, and to have them more time spent in their digital assets and engaging with the Premier League and the clubs. So if you create these rabbit holes where people get lost, in a good sense, just trying to discover more information, that's really good. Either from a more transactional day-to-day, there's a game happening, so I want to know what's happening, and which then, again, all this information needs to be updated for the AI to be able to have a conversational which is fresh. You don't want to ask something and you don't want to have the companion not knowing the result has changed, or if there is a very good piece of article, that the response doesn't embody all that information. So today the pre-prompts you see, they're not just pre-prompts, they are curated prompts where the answers are editorial structured by the Premier League, which they understand how the fan wants to see the information. So there is a fixed structure on a lot of this response. We have thousands of pre-prompts created, which we can leverage, and then we can link and navigate through players, profiles, through clubs, through other games and resources. We're doing that, again, leveraging a semantic kernel as the agent creation. Then we use OpenAI in terms, and we have been testing and using with success the mini models to make sure we balance the costs and what we need to do, at least for these first versions. And again, Foundry also in terms of the traceability of what we are producing, what are the sources, and when we want to trace back to what we have done. And again, Cosmos and AI search to be able to retrieve at the right moment the best prompts for each person, okay? Then again, we also have the open-ended experience where we did, I think, something differently, which I think it's interesting to consider in different projects, which we opened now a few days ago, the open-ended experience, also leveraging the existing pre-prompts. So not just going to data directly, but leveraging the existing pre-prompts responses, which grounds the information on information which was produced with the right guidelines, with the right neutrality. So there's a lot of pre-computed work which we can leverage on a response if that exists already. And that goes to the performance. If we do that in a lot of questions and answers we need to provide, if the answer is already there, because there are millions of fans sometimes from the same club asking similar questions, we can use the model to understand the question, the intent, and then we can retrieve similar answers, curated answers, both pre-prepared or prepared on the fly, going for the data. And again, one of the questions we try to understand is that we are already producing content here because of these pre-prompt responses, the summarization. So this is already kind of an arm of the editorial team. Do you think this will, I would say, augment and be part of the editorial team, these agents which produce now responses, conversational experience, but tomorrow podcasts and newsletters? Do you think that will happen?
Yeah, like we said, this is just the start of the journey. So we touched on, we just scratched the surface. So now it's things like, how can we supplement the editorial team, the video production? Like you said, we can now slice and dice that video. I keep giving the example that it's an easy one. We just say, right, let's get all of Wayne Rooney's goals. It's a simple one, but then a more trickier one is I want to see everyone who's lost the boot, say, over the last 30 years. That's a bit more nuanced. No one wants that apart from me. But we would be able to find that because we're actually scanning all of the imagery, and we could train the model to just say, let's find that, and then slice a video and output it.
Yeah. And things like, for sure, we have been taking care in terms of content safety, so making sure people don't ask not just things which are not safe, not biased, but also things which the Premier League shouldn't answer. Or perhaps there is a formal way of answering to those questions, so that is being also prepared here. So just for everyone to understand, and we do know the AI provides variance in the types of responses we have, but there's a lot of, I would say, responsible AI plus responsible Premier League type of effects we need to aggregate and make sure we provide those answers. That's quite important in terms of all the reputation here. And translation is coming too, so videos should come in one of the next drops soon. Translations too, again, leveraging these models is quite quick. For example, the first one will be Spanish, which will be also quite interesting also for the US market for us to reach new audiences.
Yep.
Okay, and this is the big picture, of simplified one still, but still the big picture and how we are delivering this. I also would like to start with a question here for Simon, which is, and Simon has been working with us very closely, building this, designing, optimizing, because as you mentioned, when we started the project, some of these things didn't exist, and if in some time some of these will not, so we need to adapt to constant change. But there's also a balance, and you have a strong sensibility for this. One is performance and resiliency. So how do we respond to the scale of all these fans on a Sunday with 4 matches happening at the same time, and all of them trying to understand the result and what's happening. And at the same time, we don't have an architecture which then starts to grow in terms of cost and everything else. What has been the tension here in the good sense?
Yeah, it's been a good challenging sort of tension point about how do we maximize performance, cost. Obviously AI is quite a costly beast to power. And so we're looking at things like the caching, but also the latency, that it would just look terrible if we're offering stale content during match time. So we've had lots of conversations over the last months on that balancing act between performance, cost, and then the other one, like you say, is just the rate of change, that we'll talk about some model this week, and then next week we have to talk about a new model, or we can get the cost down by switching to something else. Redis managed service, all these things that are just happening at pace. So we've got to balance those with, as usual, the contented roadmap, that we've got all of these features that the product team and just the fans in general are looking to get out the door.
And we just had great announcements here at Ignite in terms of Foundry, how we'll leverage different capabilities too. Again, there are pay-as-you-go models, there are reserved models, there are a lot of discussions we're having. Just a quick view from the right to the left. So we talked a little bit on data ingestion side. There's also the agent side in the middle. I will start on the right side. So the Premier League already had these apps and sites. So the way we built this was to make it API driven. So everything we're serving, from the pre-prompts catalog, the responses, follow-up prompts, the open prompting, the streaming of the responses for open prompting for apps, both apps and the website. They start on the right side with the API layer, where we can scale up and down with containers according to the needs. So again, that's both an objective of serving large scale, but also making sure we optimize when we don't need that scale. So there's a lot of variance in terms of how we need to use this platform. And so this is how the team has been able to cope with that. And as Simon mentioned too, we try to leverage as much as possible the caching mechanisms through the responses, through how we manage the session, the memory, the catalog, to be faster, to try to be under 500 milliseconds for the SLA we have. And again, this is really important. People they don't want, especially for simple questions, they don't want to wait a lot. And this is one of the insights, I think. Leveraging both free prompts and open prompts can be a thing where we can optimize for fast responses, for cost optimization, and for a good experience at the same time. And I think with voice that will evolve too. So from the right side, we go and continue. So then the way we leverage all data which is being ingested, we have, I would say, two types of patterns. One is kind of more micro batching, where we are receiving all stats, articles, and everything which is coming from the clubs. Just understand that we want to receive that, but we also want to receive those key events when a goal happens, when a game finishes, because when a person asks a question, we want to have all that pre-compiled, and those sources of information will be mixed in a good sense with an article, with the stats, with a moment from a video, and presented to the fan. So it's not just about going in unit types of small informations and bring that to the fan. It's really combining that with an editorial mindset and with the guidelines. And so those, as we leverage, I would say, those two key patterns in terms of what's the pre-prompting generation and open prompting. With open prompting, we again leverage the existing responses, and we also generate directly to different types of questions like standings, players profiles. We go directly to for example, for 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 in this sense. Anything you want to add here and how we see this evolvement? Again, I think there's some conclusions we have, and we're about time.
Yeah. So this is just, as we said, this just builds the foundation for what we want to move on to next. So we've got all of this data flowing in. We've got the API layer. We haven't really touched on. We work with also other vendors just to have that close collaboration to get more data in, and then just to look at other ways of servicing the fans so that they can get what they want, fully personalized. A big area will be video, translations, and getting it localized, and accessibility, that we can just get out of the box almost and just make more use of that as we move forward.
And as we joined the partnership, so we had a big Microsoft team working. We have been working also with all the foundations in terms of Cloud Foundations, data platform, how I would say our well-architected best practices, security as a pillar from the beginning, by design, by default, so we are pretty much on that. And again, we also helped in terms of change management aspects and how we not just do stuff, but provide the autonomy for the Premier League to continue from here. We are very committed to that and have all the service management practices also in place. So to finalize, I would kind of let's highlight 5 aspects of what we want to say. What we want to take out of the session, and we will be available for questions afterwards. After the session, there will be another session in the same room at 4 o'clock for you to go a little bit even deeper on this side. Okay. So first point for agentic architecture would be one of your insights, Simon.
Yeah, I think it's just been interesting to see how the agentic architecture has just changed. And even though we've just rolled out open prompts, we're just seeing massive engagement and just what the types of things that people are asking for and having conversations with it for. And it's, like you say, it's just the start, and we're trying to broadcast that through the business to say this, we can do all sorts of things here, chain different agents, and just get this fully tailored new way of actually operating.
Yeah. So open prompting is really a window open to listen to the fans, and that's what we will do in terms not just for personalization, but the way the editorial approach can go for different markets with personalized approaches too. Then responsible AI, we did a lot of testings thousands of testings assisted by tools to make sure we couldn't break the system. Breaking the system, not just because of our responsible AI principles. And again, the tools that we have are really providing a good, I would say, initial first protection to most of the questions. They're all, we learned, again, they're multi-turn, for example, questions we can try to do with open prompting to try to break a little bit the bias of the system. We also learned that using a memory of a conversation can also influence those type of mechanisms and defense, and we are quite confident of the measures we have done to protect this, but it's something we need to address very specifically. Yeah. I will be very quickly just with 2 points. Again, data, as we mentioned, is quite important, bringing new sources, but making it actionable, and also security as a strong pillar. Again, 2 big companies on the partnership, they need to be protected for any type of attack in the uptime.
Yeah, we've run out of time, but yeah, the last one just to take away is the innovation of speed. So I just say to everyone here that you need to always have one eye on what's coming versus what you're working on right now, just so that you can adapt, change, and just look at how this market is changing in this, you know, really exciting, fast-paced endeavor.
Thank you very much to the Premier League, to the project, and everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.